Some pretty strong views out there. What do you think? Is a little bit of paid parking okay if it's going to help the council, or is it going to make doing your business, going to get your food, or just going to be a tourist a little bit harder? Jeremy Lawrence is the founder of Streets Alive Yarra, a ratepayers advocacy group. And Jeremy, good morning.
Good morning, Richie.
You're in favour of paid parking.
Yes, parking reform is a good thing. Streets are for everyone, and I say parking reform is about access and equity. Access because there are people who need to drive and park. And you can't do that. You can't visit your local shops if all the parking bays are taken. So to enable people to do that, to spend their money in the local area, you need to have some type of way of discouraging people from parking all day. And the best way to do that is a small price.
You talk about parking all day, but don't we have time zones? You know, you can only park for 2 hours, and if you go over that, you get fined. Isn't that a method to do it where people aren't paying, just to visit the shops?
Yes, of course, but that's very difficult to enforce for council. So parking inspection officers have to walk along and chalk the tyres and then come back 1 hour later or 2 hours later, and you simply can't cover the whole municipal area with that method. It's just unenforceable. So the best way to do it is what's proven to work, which is a pricing signal.
Your experience is in the city of Yarra, which is obviously a very built-up area, and lots of people visit Yarra. Does it work in Yarra, do you think?
Yes, so Yarra has paid parking. It isn't quite the exact form of pricing that we'd like to see, which is demand responsive. It's more of a flat rate. But yes, we've had paid pricing for parking on shopping streets for many years, and I think it's working really well.
But you look at places like Bridge Road, which is in the city of Yarra, and that's struggling. Would they benefit from less prohibitive maybe parking fees?
Well, let's not exaggerate what the issues are with Bridge Road. Bridge Road has been in decline for many years, right? Because it used to sell a lot of discount shopping centres and things like that, and that's been replaced with online shopping. So what Bridge Road needs is customers coming to a wide range of shops and services. And for that to happen, of course, you need people coming to shops. You need to be able to access the shops. And historically, people used to drive to shops. But as the population density has increased, you simply can't physically fit all the cars on the street, either in the side streets driving there or on the street itself parking. It doesn't work. And as the population of Melbourne is going to double by 2050, we have to start to plan for this future, which means more people are going to shops in their local areas through walking and biking and public transport.
We had a caller earlier, Jeremy, for Paul in Keysborough, who said that they introduced paid parking in parts of Dandenong, and it just killed the area. And he said it was 40 cents to start with. It was 20 years ago. Is that not the danger? And let's take it away from the city of Yarra, which is obviously an inner city area, but is there not the danger that will kill some suburban high streets? And we heard a caller too saying the Ballarat parking was so confusing it was stopping her going back. Is that not the issue?
A well-designed parking reform is pro-trader. It's pro-business because it helps customers visit shops. So if you look at different types of customers, some need to drive and park. For them, they need to be able to get to that local shopping strip, and there needs to be a few vacant parking bays. If they're all filled, because if it's free parking, then that customer isn't going to be able to visit that shop. So demand-responsive pricing, which is the type of reform that we advocate for, is the smallest possible price so that there's always a few empty bays on each shopping street. And that means it's not about raising revenue, because it's not a flat rate diktat from, say, councillors saying it's $2 an hour or $4 an hour. The price is set by the shoppers themselves.
So what's the ideal system for you? You talk about it, it's demand response, and what does it look like? Give us an example of how that actually works.
So in peak times, the price is a little bit higher. And in off-peak times, the price is lower, perhaps even zero. So the price is monitored, the occupancy of the street is monitored. People just walk up and down and count how many bays are filled and how many are empty. And then that price is varied, and that price can be adjusted by a little bit month to month, and gradually you figure out what the demand-responsive price is over the 24 hours of the day. People, when they come to park, generally these days you pay using a phone. You can park in the bay, open up your app and see what the pricing is for this hour, for the next hour, for 3 hours. And then you can decide how long you need to stay.
One last thing, I think the city of Melbourne is allowing 15 minutes of free parking. Is that a model that other councils should look at? Just that sort of, you're ducking in to grab whatever from the shop. Is 15 minutes a fair free parking?
There's always things to try to get people used to a new system. And 15 minutes free is certainly something that can be tried. I think the other archery we need to look at is it's also about equity, right? So there are people who need to drive and park, and there are also people who prefer or need to walk and bike because they are on lower incomes. And if you, as a council, choose not to charge for parking, you are choosing to deny council revenue, which you can then invest in footpaths and bike lanes. And so it's not just a flash button issue of, oh, heck, it used to be free and I always wanted to be free. You actually have to look at how to help the broadest range of people.
Jeremy, thank you so much for sharing your views. It's a very interesting discussion. Jeremy Lawrence there, founder of Streets Alive Yarra.
If you like our content, follow us for more.